There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
So when it comes to wiring and accessories, many of you, the technicians and the installers and the fabricators have turned to Stinger to make sure you've got everything covered for all your installs. Today, we've got product expert Jeff Smith in the studio with us today to cover not the entire range, but we're going to focus on the accessories, the wiring, and especially some sound deadening product. You don't want to miss this. This is CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM, Stinger, and it starts now. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another CMA Connected presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. We are now into the wiring and accessories, or whatever you want to call it. Basically, it's all that important stuff that you need in the install bay to make sure your installs get completed. And not only completed, but the innovation that has happened within this category over the decades is really remarkable. Today's brand that we'll be focusing on today is no exception to that. They've innovated so many different things that I'm sure our guest is going to take us through the entire gambit of product. So let's start with that. He is the national trainer, actually director of training and events for AMP Global, which is the parent company of Stinger. His name is Jeff Smith.
Morning, Ben.
Morning. What's going on, Mr. Smith?
Nothing much, man. It was a gamble. I'm like, is he going to get the title right today?
I know. I do my very best, because when I see you, Jeff, all I think about is training, because it's what you're known for, man. Like, you're the train master.
All good, man. Appreciate it.
So we know that we have you on several times during the season on CMA Networks, for a multitude of different brands, right? Because AMP Global covers so many. But let's be honest, Stinger is a core brand for AMP Global, is it not?
100%. Stinger is the first brand that Amplifier actually created under its umbrella, starting back in 1990. So it has been the home run of the company from day one. It covers a wide gamut of products now. It originally was started to be a wire and accessories company, which we hold a very good, strong place in the industry within the wire and accessories part of our installation process.
No, I don't want our viewers to, be confused, because let's be honest, Stinger has, how shall I say, expanded quite a bit over the years. I mean, we're doing high-10 head units. You're incorporating different technologies from your other companies or brands, such as PAC and so on and so forth. And of course, a recent acquisition of audio control. So, I mean, there's a big, it's a busy place under the AMP Global roof. However, and I want to underline this, Stinger continues to be a leader in the wiring accessories category where it began. Can you give us some examples of why that is the case still today?
Well, pretty much the foundation of any high-performance cardio system has to be a solid company or solid product. And that's one of the things, like I said from the beginning, Stinger has been synonymous with high-quality wiring, high-quality interconnects, RCAs, high-quality sound treatment, sound dampening material, everything that you need. Power, we started with batteries and alternators and everything else. A lot of the installation materials and carpets and vinyls and things like that came along when we purchased other companies and put that under Stinger as well. So Stinger has been the installer's friend, like a lot of the other companies, and provided high quality materials, high quality products from day one. And we still believe in that and are still pushing the envelope to deliver quality products for the foundation of all of the high performance audio systems that we see and love that keeps us in this industry.
you know, when many people think about wiring and interconnects, like how much evolution could that be? But make no mistake, you know, Stinger's always been at the forefront of innovation. I think we're gonna definitely focus in on a couple of those innovative products that they've come out with. But what are some of the trends that you're seeing in this market as far as wiring and accessories? Jeff, you have your ear to the ground. You're talking to fab guys and installers every single day. What are you seeing as far as trends emerging within wiring and accessories?
Definitely, the fact that guys really want to be able to have a solid product, but they also want to have the ability to be creative. This is why we see things like the Clean Wire Club take off.
Mhm.
Guys are really not only showcasing their fabrication, but now they're showcasing their wire skills and their behind the scenes installation. Because no matter how pretty it is on the outside, Ben, if it's not solid behind the scenes, we keep talking about that foundation. If it's not solid behind the scenes, it means nothing. So a lot of the trends now are getting really tricky and custom and extremely clean with the way you do your installation. So that's why we continue to make multiple different colors and sizes of wire, the new distribution block that we'll talk about shortly, so you can make custom distribution. We try to always make high quality interconnects that fit whatever the situation would be for that particular job. I mean, even moving into, optical cables, whatever that may be, because a lot of the trends nowadays are moving into DSP. So having shorter format RCAs, having high quality optical cables, whatever the situation may be. Right now the industry is really leaning toward that clean under foundation, and guys are definitely willing to show it off these days.
I'm not gonna lie, I follow that group for sure. I love the Instagram posts when people show all the wiring and how they've set it all up because there's so much thought that goes into that. Never mind the veil that goes over it. But I always, I mean, for me, it's kudos to the shops that show that stuff, and I think that goes a long way for shops that take the time to do that type of install and have that insight to be able to be that clean with the wiring, but
Yep.
be proud of it. And I think customers certainly, not only respect but respond to it in a positive way. All right.
100%.
Jeff, what are we talking about today? Can you give us an overview?
Well, today we're going to kind of give a, a wide view of our wire and accessories line from Stinger. Mind you, we have dedicated core wire products, everything from primary to zero gauge power wire. We have our higher end, we have our lower end for budget conscientious customers. We have our sound deadening products. We have a wide variety of those products and some other sound treatments, that you can add to your speakers in order to make them sound better in an automotive environment. So we're going to kind of cover a variety of things to showcase what we at Stinger like to do.
All right. Well, we're going to buckle up. And before we do that, we've got a little roadkill video to kind of remind you that, man, don't discount Stinger when it comes to roadkill. They take this stuff real serious. Let's roll the tape.
All right.
I don't know if anybody's ever told you this, but whoever thought of that name roadkill, pretty smart guy. That name just absolutely rings. Listen, we're going to set you up here, Jeff. You have a presentation for us. When we come back from the presentation, we're going to go through a couple props that you have that we want to show in greater detail. And of course, as per usual, I'm going to have a ton of questions for you. So without further ado, Jeff, you have the stage.
Awesome. All right. Well, today's presentation, like I said, Ben, is going to be kind of an overview of some of our wire and accessory products. Of course, like we said in the beginning, Stinger has always been synonymous as a wire and accessory company, starting with our True Gauge AWG, American Wire Gauge, True Gauge Power Wire. We make power wire in multiple different scenarios. We have it anywhere from 10 gauge on the roll, 8 gauge, 4 gauge, and 0 gauge. We make this in multiple different colors and formats. We even make it in the new marine format that we kind of talked about in some of our other episodes here on your show, where it's a dual pair wire or Siamese pair that we like to speak of. All of the wire is 100% OFC copper, which means there's no CCA, no impurities whatsoever within any of our Stinger branded power wire. The wire itself is when a lot of people look at the wire, it's kind of silverish on the outer coating, and they always question, well, if it's silver, shouldn't that be aluminum? And that's not the case. What we do is we actually put a micro layer, like if the wire is, we call it 100%, let's call it 99.9999% copper. And then that last little micro percent is going to be 10. And that 10 goes on the copper wire in order to help, number one, prevent corrosion when exposed to the elements, but it also gives it a really nice color when we put it in translucent jackets and do our hyper twist, so that you have these bright blues, the clear silvers, the different grays and things like that for that translucent jacket that we make. Now, the marine wire is the same high quality OFC copper. Like I said before, we were the first company to create this dual Siamese pair wire. This is available in different kits and available in rolls of 4 gauge and 8 gauge. We don't make it into dual 0 gauge because, number one, it would be extremely expensive, but number two, it would be more weight than what normally ships in our spools of wire. Primary wire from us, of course, if you're doing remote starts or wiring up accessories or anything else, is 100% OFC copper as well. And then we have multiple different sizes of speaker wire as well, all 100% OFC copper. Speed wire. Speed wire is something that started here under the AMP umbrella. You have two different formats. We have 5 wire, that's going to be your 2 pair of speaker wires and a remote wire. And then you have your 9 wire, that's going to be your front and rear speakers and a remote wire in a single jacket, that makes installations that much smoother and easier to have. Installations go a lot faster. Then we're going to move into distribution. Stinger has always made high quality distribution, whether it be in our core series of products or even in our Stinger X series of products, which we're looking at here, the X Link. And then we also have our more price conscientious line called Stinger Select. We make wire in that line as well. But that wire is typically going to be in the CCA or lower gauge copper family. But what we're looking at here, Ben, is our newest distribution block. It's a linkable fused distribution block called the XFDB108. We've been showing this guy for the last couple of years now, and it is really starting to catch on because dealers really see the benefit and installers see how creative they can be when adding these X-Link parts together. Now, this is a single fuse block. It will take anywhere from 0 gauge, 4 gauge, 8 gauge, all into a single fuse holder. Now, this fuse holder can use a A&L, standard size A&L fuse, or can use a mini A&L fuse. You can link them together and use the bus bars that are included inside to create a positive or power distribution block, or use the internal jumpers in a different way to create a ground distribution block. And what's really neat is that once you start to stack the way the plastic links together to actually snap together, then you can create your own custom distribution. The photo here you're looking at here is some of our friends over at Arc Audio. They use our Stinger distribution blocks in a build they did with the show with, God, I'm blanking on the show now, with Chip Foose. And this was a vehicle they did for Shaq, where they used our X-Link distribution blocks in order to create this custom distribution here. Because you can add as many as you want. Roughly, you don't want to go over 16 of these before you get a voltage drop that's significant. But 16 amplifiers with a lot of these blocks, of course, you can always go in and out multiple different times to create different distribution capabilities. So that's a very unique patented design that we have as well. And of course, Stinger has always been known for our RCAs, our core set of RCAs, the 1000 series, 4000, 6000, and 8000 have been world-renowned for being some of the highest quality RCAs in our industry for a long time. But where we want to kind of focus, Ben, has been the migration from our core products to our newer series, which is called Stinger X. Stinger X is going to be multiple different lines of RCAs that are steps above what our core series were. So in this particular line of RCAs, you're going to have an X1, X2, and an X3. We have lots of POP for in-store capabilities as well. And the packaging that we have for all of our products speaks for itself. You always have the open area on the packaging so that a customer can actually touch and feel the product. And as a salesperson on the floor, you have the ability to explain to the customer the benefits of why using X-Link is above and beyond our core or other brands out there. The POP in the store tells a story as well. You have a good, better, best, from X1 being good, X2 being better, and X3 being best. Each one of these particular categories has a true benefit to it. All of our interconnects use 100% OFC copper. All of them are individual conductors. This is what we call our C3 technology, where you have the ability to have separate left and right positive conductors and separate left and right negative conductors. Then you get up into something as high end as the X3 in the X series of RCAs. In this particular series here, you're going to get even extra noise rejection, and you're going to get silver plating on top of those copper conductors that are going to make this the best series under the Stinger X format of interconnects. So noise rejection, having directional cables to help ensure that none of the noise is passed down to the next device, having high quality materials built into these cables, and ensuring that the best sound quality possible can be passed from one product to the next. That is what Stinger's interconnects from the core to Stinger X have always been about. Now, moving into more installation accessories, we're going to talk about wire ferrules. Wire ferrules is something that came along in a series of more things that installers started doing in order to make their installs look better. But not only do they make your installs look better and more finished and polished, Ben, what's going to happen here is that a wire ferrule is actually going to allow the wire itself to be protected when going into a compression style terminal for an amplifier. This particular device, the wire ferrule, goes around your wire anywhere from 22 gauge all the way up to 0 gauge. And it helps the wire continue to have the right amount of strands to deliver the current that each product actually needs. It keeps that set screw from ripping through some of the strands of wire and making it less of the gauge that you actually want to use. We sell these in multiple different formats, and we also sell a crimper that works from 22 gauge all the way up to 8 gauge. Because 4 gauge and 0 gauge, we want the set screw within that amplifier itself to actually crimp that wire. You can see, Ben, like we talked about, the Clean Wire Club has been synonymous with the way a lot of our Stinger products blend together, whether it be our installation accessories, fuse holders, distribution blocks, even our batteries, the interconnects, everything that you see in the installation like this from our good friend Dean and Fernando over at 5-Star. These type of installs are becoming more and more commonplace because installers are seeing that fabrication and clean wiring are just as important as the other. And they want to make sure that customers see their products and they know exactly how they work, and they make them extremely serviceable in that format as well. So we have been with these guys from day one as far as being able to provide the installation materials in order to make this whole gamut of clean wiring a true thing within our industry. No matter the level of RCA, from entry level to midline or high end, from power wire, different sizes and gauges, we make sure that we provide all these accessories to make installers' lives that much easier. Now, moving forward, we're going to get into some of our sound treatment products, Roadkill. And Ben, Roadkill is a name that's synonymous within the industry when people talk about sound damping products. Under Roadkill, there are a few different products. We have 3 main categories of damping material that actually has a butyl base to add mass to cut down on panel buzzing and vibration. Our higher end is going to be Expert, that's been in the industry for a really long time. The Expert material is going to be that silver color material, Ben, that has the embossed Stinger logo on it. That's going to be 6 mils. The 6 mil aluminum material on top. This is going to be some of the thickest material in the industry. And then, of course, we have our special extra sticky butyl that is under that layer of aluminum. That butyl is what's going to allow it to adhere to the metal panels in the vehicle. The butyl compound is something really unique that we spent a lot of time developing because we wanted to ensure that you didn't have to put a lot of prep into it. So you don't have to go in and spray a bunch of cleaners and things like that to go in and clean off the area. The butyl compound itself is going to be extremely tacky, and it has a good pliable time for you to be able to move it and place it and make sure you have it in the right scenario. You can peel it up and stick it back down. But in the right kind of heat bend and in about 24 to 48 hours, you're going to find that this type of material has become permanently bonded, and it kind of etches itself into that metal panel itself to create a more sturdier, well-damped panel. Then we have our stealth material. Stealth material is about 25% less weight than expert. It's going to go down to 3 mil on the aluminum, and it's going to be about 75% of the same damping properties as the expert would be. Now, the stealth is kind of what you think. Stealth is going to be all black versus a silver. There's no embossed logo. It is going to be thinner because in some scenarios, some vehicles want to reduce the weight of the damping material, but they also still want to keep those same properties of being able to reduce panel vibration, but also still be able to give you a good response in reducing road noise and things like that. The other category of damping material that we want to talk about is going to be X-Mat. X-Mat is going to be the newest version of the family. This is going to be the same quality as Expert, but going to have a few additional features added to it. Within X-Mat, you're going to see now we went to the Stealth Black, but with a silver Stinger X logo. It's not embossed how the Expert would be. But we went to the same 6 mil aluminum layer, but we also added a different grade of aluminum. This is 1100 series of aluminum, which is going to be the purest level of aluminum in this particular standpoint. This is an automotive grade of aluminum, so it's going to be a little bit more bound to reducing the amount of resonance that happens within a vehicle. The butyl compound itself is still going to be as classic as what we do on the Expert. So this is the type of material we kind of push this toward our dealers because this is where our Stinger X products are serialized matte protected products. These packages here, or like we say, are more generated to the mom and pop shops where the Expert material, of course, they can sell that as well, but that's one of those products that's been in the industry for a while. A lot of times found in distribution centers and things like that. So X-Mat, XRCAs versus our core products are always generated as a serialized matte protected product for our dealers. But the X-Mat material bin is a winner, hands down, when dealers don't want that silver material. They want a little bit higher quality with that aluminum layer on top for the X-Mat. The next generation of products under the Roadkill brand is going to be our foam materials. This is going to include our Overkill pad, our carpet pad, and hood liner. Now, the foam products, unlike the butyl, like we said before, adds mass to panels to help reduce panel vibration and flexing and things like that. And with that aluminum layer, it's a constraining layer to help block some heat categories as well. So with the Overkill padding, what this is going to do, this is going to be more of an insulator and provide you the ability to put a barrier between metal and plastic panels to help reduce squeaking and things like that, and also cut down on higher frequency noise within the vehicle itself, which makes the vehicle a lot quieter and not make road trips and things like that. That drone from the low noise would be done by the mat, but then the higher noise that comes from wind noise and very thin metals can be cut down with the Overkill pad. The carpet pad is going to be a combination between closed cell foam and a mass loaded vinyl. Mass loaded vinyl layer goes down toward the floor and the foam goes up. That mass loaded vinyl is going to create a even thicker barrier for that low tones of road noise and things like that would come from the vehicle, and it would give you an even quieter environment within the vehicle when you add carpet pad on top of one of the butyl materials already. And then, of course, the hood liner. The hood liner itself goes under the hood. It's another layer of closed cell foam with a very thin aluminum layer to help protect the heat from the engines, from custom paint jobs, or if you just don't want the hood itself to be so hot, to help block a lot of that radiating heat that could come out of the hood from a lot of different vehicle platforms. So the combination of butyl products and foam products leads us to what we call our ultimate product. That ultimate product is a combination of all three materials that is going to be our butyl and foam to create the best layer of protection. So here you're going to have that decoupling overkill foam, that aluminum layer, that constraining layer, and then the butyl on the bottom to help create that mass to help reduce all of those panel vibrations. And by doing this, this is going to create a very beautiful look and feel within the vehicle. And when two panels meet each other, the outer door skin, the inner door skin, and the back of a door panel is going to help reduce the amount of panel squeak you would have in the vehicle as well. So roadkill products have been extremely synonymous. There's about 21 different products we make in that roadkill family. Now, one of the most interesting of these products is going to be fast rings. Fast rings is something that's extremely easy for a dealer to sell, extremely easy for a customer to see the instant benefit and gratification of what a fast ring can do. And like we're showing here in the graphic, Ben, fast rings are a 3-piece system that allows you to take this foam solution and then split it into 3 different pieces to make the installation work a lot seamlessly with the way the speaker is designed. The center piece or the rear plug goes behind the driver so that when you mount the driver into the vehicle, all of the rear sound waves get absorbed into this particular foam and don't bounce back off of the metal, creating destructive sound waves within the door panel itself. Then you have the ring here that can be cut and trimmed in order to create a sealing gasket on the backside of the driver to the door panel to make sure that there are no air leaks around the driver. Some installers even take, once they cut that thin ring to be a gasket, they take the rest of the foam from the middle section and put it on the back of the driver in order to help resist water from dripping onto the speaker basket and terminals or the back of the cone on the inside of the door. And then, of course, the biggest part that most of us see is going to be the front horn or the front ring that allows the door panel itself to couple with the bracket that the speaker is mounted to in order to make sure that 100% of the sound is completely pushed out of the door panel, the grill and door panel, so that none of the sound waves bounce around within the door, causing destructive waves or causing panel vibrations or rattles from the front side of that speaker. So Ben, we've talked about how much of a difference happens with reducing the amount of road noise in the vehicle, making the system sound louder, up to 3 to 6 dB of reduction of noise, depending upon the car type and the amount of material you add within the vehicle. But by adding the fast rings, you literally increase the output of that speaker significantly. Fast rings work so well, I tell dealers to put them on their soundboard. Put them on one side of the room versus the other, so that way you can hear a immense instant difference in the amount of output you get from a fast ring over to a speaker that does not have a fast ring installed. And Ben, of course, we wouldn't be able to help our dealers if we didn't have in-store active displays. We have 5 products. We have one that's a standalone product that's available for dealers to actually showcase all the different products on a board, so that way they can explain to a customer exactly what these products do. But we also have in-store active displays. There are 4 different models, 2 for regular roadkill and 2 for the Stinger X mat categories. Single stories that are single columns, and then you have the double columns as well. So depending upon the size of the space a dealer has available in their store to create these type displays, we definitely have these displays available. Because sound damping products, Ben, are one of those things that it doesn't need to be oh, by the way. Sound damping products need to be sold, just as RCAs are sold, just as speakers are sold, just as the choice of amplifiers are sold. This particular category means a lot to the system. We've always talked about a solid foundation. If you just start throwing up a house and throwing up some walls and throwing up windows and you build it on a muddy area, the house is going to have issues down the road. Same thing goes with the audio, high performance audio system. If you don't use high quality wiring, high quality distribution blocks, make sure power is getting to the right source, make sure you have well dampened areas for your speakers to be mounted solid. Those speakers can vibrate and not have a solid enough mount to them in order to create the absolute best sound that they were designed for by its audio engineers. So, Ben, that's pretty much what Stinger has been synonymous for, creating that foundation for installers to create high performance audio systems for our customers to enjoy.
Very good presentation, Mr. Smith. Of course, as you know, I've been taking notes this entire time, but I'm going to give you an opportunity to catch your breath. We've got another video that we want to play, and when we come back, I'm going to drill Jeff on a bunch of questions I have and go deeper on a couple of products that I thought were super interesting. We'll be right back. Why do I have the feeling, Jeff, that really sexy caramelized arm was maybe yours in those videos?
Could be not. Sometimes, you got to make a little money being a hand model on the side.
I hear you. Side hustle. That's what that is.
There you go.
I want to start by saying something. I've been literally saving this conversation for you and I to have here.
Okay, let's go.
I love your analogy and when you refer to building a system and it having a right foundation, right, before building the higher end system. In my experience in selling even home audio to car audio, I always went by the 50-30-20 rule. No, I've never said this on camera. This is my first time sharing one of my secrets here, okay? I want your opinion on this. What is the 50-30-20 rule? I always quote out my systems at 20% accessories, wiring / sound damping. 20% of that budget should be committed to quality wires, accessories like fuse blocks, distribution, ferrules, all that type of stuff, and sound deadening. Now you're thinking, holy cow, 20%. That seems like a big number, but hold on a second. The reason why it's 20, 30, 50 is because on 20%, that's how much you should dedicate to the budget. All right? What you're explaining to the customer is that although you're only spending 20% of your overall budget, if you don't spend that, you are not getting 100% performance from the system without it.
Correct.
So therefore, you'd be losing you're only getting half the performance, hence the 50%. So really, you're going to spend 20%, but add the extra 30% to there to get an extra 50% value of what you're actually paying for. Otherwise, I'm better off selling you a lower end speaker to make sure we fit this budget, or amplifier or whatever component of the system. But let's make sure that, like you said, that foundation is set. So I would never sell a system for less than 20% of that budget overall dedicated to wiring / sound dampening, that whole category. I'd like to hear your comments.
Yeah, 100%. Because like one of the things I said toward the end of the presentation was sound damping material has to be sold. It is extremely important. When someone comes in and they go, you know what, I want that pair of 15s, I want that 1500 watt amp, I want a fourth order bandpass, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, okay, great. But let's go look at the vehicle. And as soon as you see this vehicle, you're going to help them understand, well, you need to be prepared for a lot of rattles, a lot of panel vibration, and so forth and so on. And then go, well, I don't want it to sound like a hoopty you're driving down the road. Then great. Let's show you exactly where we need to start with the foundation. This is where you talk to them about all the different butyl materials, foam materials, talking to them about having the right amount of zero gauge wire, the right distribution blocks, upgrading to big three, a better battery, everything else, all the foundation that's going to give them the performance of that 1500 watt amp and those 15s and everything else. Because if you just stick some 8 gauge wire in there, that's not going to support that amplifier. If you don't do any sound treatment, this vehicle is going to fall apart. It's going to rattle itself to death. And the guy's he's going to hear more rattle than he
It's
is
really
bass.
annoying.
Right. So
And
yeah,
it's gonna hate it.
selling all of these accessories needs to 100% be in the forefront of anything else. And consumers out there need to think about that as well. When you go to McDonald's, you order a burger and the first thing they say is fries and drinks and apple pies and everything. So it's all the other add-ons that help make everything enjoyable. And this is where quality wire and accessories and quality sound damping materials are going to help make that initial purchase that much more enjoyable.
We're on the topic of making it an active part of your sale, is to enforce the fact that you need to put budget towards this type of stuff. Before we do that, because I know we can talk about the display that's behind you for sure, I wanted to get a better clarification, and I've heard this before. We're not just talking about sound deadening. You said so many different keywords. You said lower noise, rattles. So resonance is another keyword that you said. Vibration.
Yep.
These are all different things that I just want to take an extra minute or two to identify, so that people tuning in understand that this is not a one-trick pony type of material. So can you just break that out, exactly what those differences are?
So if someone was to really think about driving their vehicle with a stock audio system in it as it sits, even if they get into that vehicle, a lot of people are going to start to realize that, okay, here's all this road noise that they never really paid attention to, especially if there's some music that they really like. You can benefit a customer even with their stock system by decreasing the amount of ambient road noise in that vehicle, selling them sound deadening material. So this is why having displays in order to show the benefit of reducing panel vibration, reducing ambient road noise, reducing the amount of things that unconsciously annoy you in your vehicle and can make your driving experience very enjoyable, very unpleasant. So this is why sound treatment can be something sold even without selling a stereo system. I mean, it is a product category that can literally make any automotive environment that much more enjoyable, because the quieter and more serene it is inside the vehicle, the more you can hear conversations between people, enjoying a phone call. And when you go to turn that audio system up, you've increased the output level of your audio system, because you're not having to turn it to 15 now. You can leave it on 10 or so because you're not having to overcome all of that road noise. So sound treatment, Ben, sound deadening, sound damping, however a customer you want to sell it to that customer, just don't call it dampening. However you want to sell it to a customer is going to increase their ride, their ability to enjoy the system or their entire vehicle experience.
More luxurious overall atmosphere.
100%.
Right? You said it right there. And dude, we're talking minimum. I think all brands will agree. We're talking about a minimum of a 3 dB gain.
Right.
I don't know. I think everybody understands what 3 dB means.
Yeah, it's
That's
going
like
to be
doubling your power, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Okay. So let's talk about the roadkill product real quick. So there was basically 3 different types. I'm having a hard time understanding one thing. Like, how do you position yourself as a salesperson to direct which way to go? Because, for example, the expert versus the what was the final one that you said? The mat, I believe.
X-Mat?
The X-Mat for me was kind of similar. Can you just help me differentiate
Well,
that?
typically a dealer is going to focus. They should focus in one particular category. Either you're going to be an expert dealer or you're going to be an X-Mat.
This is why I was confused. Okay, so it's not typical to have both options.
Correct. Really. Yeah, it's not typical to have both. Now, it's typical to have expert and stealth because you want a lighter weight material.
Mm-hmm.
In those scenarios where a customer doesn't want to put an extra amount of weight in the vehicle and they still want good dampening properties. So most times you're going to have expert and stealth, or you're going to have X-Mat and stealth.
Gotcha.
And then ultimate is a combination of all the products, whether it be a foam product and one of the 2 higher end butyl products, either expert or X-Mat. So then you're going to have all the family of foam products, overkill, carpet pad, hood liner, that are additional accessories that can help in different categories of reducing the amount of road noise within
Right, applied in 2 different applications.
Correct. And then that's where the ultimate comes into play, where the ultimate is all 3. It is your butyl for adding mass, it is your aluminum constraining layer, and then is the overkill foam all in one. So that's why we call it ultimate, because it does all 3 products, all 3 areas of sound treatment can be done within that one product.
I would imagine there is a cost savings with going ultimate versus going 2 separate layers.
It is, but ultimate can be a little thicker than some of the others, so you have to make sure that you have the room for ultimate.
Right.
Ultimate definitely is going to be a little bit of a cost savings because you're reducing the amount of labor in one, because you're not having to put down a butyl layer and then add another layer of foam on top of it. So it is cost savings. It is definitely going to be an investment for having the right amount of material to create the best environment.
So if you had to choose, let's say we have a car, it's broken down, everything's out of the vehicle, where would you primarily put the ultimate if you had the choice? So the customer's like, well, I can't afford the whole thing, but where would you maximize that?
I would put the normal aluminum butyl layer on the outer door skin.
Outer skin,
on the inside of the door where a lot of the moisture happens. And then I would put the ultimate material on the inner door skin and then on the back of the door panel. So that way when the door panel meets.
That's 3 layers on a door.
Right. So that way when the door panel meets that inner door skin, you're going to now have foam against foam, right? That's going to create a very nice, cushiony barrier.
0 vibration, 0 resonance.
You're going to have a solid door panel. You're going to have a solid door itself. Then you take you can either use solid sheets because it is thin. It's aluminum, but it's pliable. The 6 mil aluminum here, the automotive grade with here, or the Expert series to cover the entire door panel. Some guys believe in the 40 to 60% rule of putting it in different places, but we always recommend covering the large holes in doors. We also recommend making those plates, we call them block off or block off plates, making them removable so that you can service the door if you need to service the window regulator or service any other electronics within the door itself. Because that in the video in the end there, when you saw that sexy hand knocking on the side of that vehicle, it sounds solid, right?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. That's how you show off the capabilities of sound deadening materials.
Speaking of sound, I see you have a display behind you. This is, of course, in line with the type of POP offerings that you have for dealers. But is there a way that we could see how that works, or really how effective that display can be?
Yeah, 100%. This is kind of what I was just explaining. So within your store, if you're not going to go out into the parking lot or pull a customer's vehicle into the bay, you're not going to take the vehicle apart to show them this. So this display, this is the XMAT version, and there is a Expert version available as well. This particular one kind of mimics what you see in the vehicle. When you take the door panel off, you'll see that there's different holes in the vehicle. It's in the door itself. In order for servicing, like we said, window regulators or window control modules and things like that. So when you're listening to this type of application, it's going to sound really hollow and tinny and things like that. Let me give you an example of that. Not the best sound, right? But then when you come over here and you add the damping material, the Stinger XMAT or Expert, you cover all these holes to now create a definite solid barrier, so you're not getting
like a baffle. It's like a baffle.
Waves, right? You're making a solid baffle for the driver to be mounted to, but then you're also going to have the ability for this dampening material to reduce the vibration of this very thin metal here on this panel and give you a lot better sounding speaker installation. I think the track is starting over here. Give it just a second.
So just all things go back. Seriously? Go back again?
Seriously. Big difference.
So hold on. Just to be sure that same speaker, both sides.
Same speaker, same
material, like metal behind it.
Same metal behind it. The only difference is without sound treatment. with sound treatment.
I'm
It's a
sorry, but if
no-brainer.
I had those tools back in the day,
It's
it'd
a
be selling
no-brainer.
100%. I'd be batting 100% on sound deadening.
Then when they have this type display in the store bin, then you add a fast ring on top of it, and then you do that same. It's night and day.
Really?
It's a no-brainer. Customers are always like, I have to have that. It's a no-brainer.
Okay. Case point sold. Got it. Beautiful. I love that demo. Amazing. All right, we're looking at the time here. Let's move along quickly. I want to circle back to that X-Link stackable fuse block.
Yep.
You took the time, and thank you for explaining why that is so innovative. Let's real talk here for a second. Up until this, all I've seen was the single capsule tube style single fuse block,
Yep.
or the 2 or the 4 standard fuse block.
Yep.
This is a game changer because this allows you so many different options. Like, man, I remember before, like, you're stuck on placing this thing, but you're also stuck on how many, and it looks so terrible if you didn't use them all. So how many times did we use like fake wire just to, you know what I'm talking, I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right?
you have a four position block, but you only need 3 outputs, or you have a 3 position block, you only use 2, and you wind up putting an extra piece of wire.
Because I grommeted 4 grommets, and 4 wires have to come out the other side because I can't leave 2 because it looks stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyways, you know what I mean.
Yeah, so we still make all those traditional distribution blocks in our core line and our Stinger Select line. But the Stinger X-Link, what's really neat about this is when our engineering team did this guy, this can be used in multiple scenarios. I don't want people to only think it's used for distribution. This can be used under the hood as your main fuse holder as well. So you use a single one of these, 0 gauge, 4 gauge, or 8 gauge input, mini A&L or A&L under the hood. So for a retailer, you can stock a single fuse holder that can be your main fuse holder under the hood. Then when you get into the back of the vehicle, 1 amplifier, great. You have a single one of these to now protect the wire from front to back. Then you put in whatever size fuse you need. Then you say customer wants to add an additional amplifier. Then you take another X-Link, connect it to this one, and put in the bus bars. Now you can add 2 amps, 3 amps, 4 amps, 5 amps. However, one product in your store.
One SKU to carry.
Keep adding one SKU to carry, and you just keep adding onto it for main fuse under the hood, power distribution, or ground distribution.
Last thing, I had to comment on this fast ring business. So I've seen the fast rings installed in a lot of top level installations. You're confirming with me that the sound difference is remarkable. What I did not know, and what I learned on today's session, was that it actually came in 3 pieces. See, I always thought it came only as the outer horn ring. I did not realize that it broke out into 3 pieces, and the second one being a gasket. And, I've seen other materials from other brands make foamy kind of materials to put specifically, like you described, Jeff, behind the speaker driver to kill all those standing waves. This is all built in.
Yep. So it's like I said, it's a 3-speaker system. I mean, a 3-part speaker enhancement system. So this plug here is extremely important because when you mount the speaker into a door panel, it's just going to bounce off that metal. Even once you put some sound treatment material in the back behind.
So I'm going to stop you there. Sorry, this is my question. Do you stick that over the treatment material, or do you
stick it in front of the treatment material?
So you would do like whichever Stinger roadkill.
You put Expert or XMAT down, and then you put this behind the driver.
Okay, gotcha.
Right, because now this won't leave a metal surface behind the driver. This is going to absorb all of those back waves from the back of that driver. And then the middle section, this is what we talked about. This is going to create that gasket to help seal your driver. And then the front piece, this is what everyone always sees. This is like
back. Can you see the other side of that?
It has the paper on it because it's self-adhesing. And then you stick this onto the face of your driver on your speaker baffle. And this is what's going to decouple the speaker from the door panel and make all of that sound go directly out of the grill to make 100% upgrade in sound.
5 1/4, 6.5, 6x9, 5.7, all 4 sizes?
Everything you want, man.
I figured as much. And that is a patented technology from AMP?
Patented technology from Fast Rings.
Very sweet. Nice. I guess my only question left is we kind of talked about it already, but advice for dealers to up their accessory and sound damping game, because I feel like a lot of dealers either used to do a lot and kind of faded from it or forgot about it. Some dealers do a remarkable job, always including as part of their sale. I've heard the terms, I won't let a system out of my shop without a DSP. Well, I think the same could be said for sound deadening.
100%. Like we talked about, it's the foundation. If you are showcasing your ability to build custom door panels in the shop, if you're showcasing your ability to build custom enclosures, if you're showcasing your window tints ability and anything else you showcase in your store, you should be showcasing the benefits of sound treatment products, Ben. If you don't do these things, this is when customers feel like they're being taken. When you go, and then we need to add, and then we need to add at the end of the sale. If you start off with listening to the customer, looking at the vehicle, already having a pre-thought of how to sell, you said it best, the 20, 30, 50 rule. If you already know that you have to include a certain amount of accessories, if you do that from the beginning, it will be a no-brainer for that customer to understand the benefits with the right amount of display capabilities in your store of telling them why they need high-quality accessories to create that great foundation for the high-performance audio system that they want.
Amazing. Final message here, Jeff, and I want to pick your brain here. We covered a lot of different products. One takeaway for a dealer that might not have touched any Stinger product yet, and you want to put this in their hand and say, try this and tell me I'm wrong, which one would that be?
That Stinger is a top to bottom accessory line. Everything that they need, power accessories, signal interconnects, distribution, sound treatment materials, whether it be butyl or foam products. We have been doing this for a very long time. We are not new to this accessory game. We hold our own within the industry, and we make sure that we deliver quality, well-engineered products to help consumers enjoy their vehicle.
Said from the horse's mouth. If you're looking for more info on everything we covered today, StingerElectronics.com is the website. And if you happen to be a Canadian dealer watching this, you can reach out to their Canadian distributors, both in automobility at automob.ca or Gentech International, gentech-intl.com. Mr. Smith, thank you for educating us today.
Not a problem.
On all things Stinger, and we certainly look forward to the next one. Thank you for coming in again.
All right, Ben. Thanks, Ben.
All right, that was a fun one. Definitely got our learn on for sure. Okay, I want to remind everybody to continue tuning in to CMA Networks right through to Wednesday, June 29th. We are now fully engaged in the mobile audio accessories and video sessions. You'll see the brands up there. We are showcasing one brand per day as we go deep into their product offering. Of course, make sure you visit our website. If you like this video, there's lots more where that came from. Hundreds of videos to choose from, and you can search for them either by brand, by category, or even check out your favorite trainer. Maybe your favorite trainer is Jeff Smith. He has his own profile on there. You betcha. That's it. Thanks for tuning in to this CMA Connected presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
Let's talk about today where I'm gonna go. Yo,
roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on SiriusXM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?